Hey there, YouTube. It's Josh and Eric here. Something a little different, or maybe a different angle than you're used to. Computer sort of fried right now. It's restoring, and it should be up in another, 6 or 7 hours. So we couldn't do the live show, so we're going to do this instead. So if you're used to seeing all the pretty graphics and all that stuff, you kind of got to wait a little bit. And if you're used to seeing the close-up side-by-sides of Eric and I, then, well, you're going to have to be a little further.
This is it. Yeah, this is your one angle. Enjoy it. Actually enjoy it this way.
Yeah.
Camera's a little further away, flattering. Portrait mode.
I don't know.
Maybe
knows?
this is a bad idea.
It's a wide angle, so it probably makes us look wider or whatever. But anyway, YouTube, enjoy it, and hopefully we'll be back next week, and everything will be fixed and ready to go. All right?
And shout out to you. If you're watching this YouTube feed, you're a diehard Corner of the Galaxy listener.
Yeah.
This takes a special listener.
So don't yell at us.
Yes,
all right?
thank you.
Be nice. Be nice. All right, everybody. We'll catch you. The show starts right about now.
Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy, the show that talks 100% LA Galaxy soccer. We're glad you can join us. Now it's time to sit back and relax. Your hosts navigate through the twisting, turning, but never boring world of five-time MLS Cup champion LA Galaxy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com, coming to you from COG Studios on what should have been a live show. Is not a live show. Technical difficulties have made it so that way. We couldn't give you a live show, but we promised that we would still get you a podcast, and that's what we're going to attempt to do tonight. The LA Galaxy getting deeper into preseason, some CBA talks, defender rumors, lots of stuff to get to on this wonderful, wonderful day. To help me do it all, Eric the Portuguese Hammer is in the house. Eric, how's it going, buddy?
It's going well. Happy to be here. A little bit disappointed we couldn't record the live show. I usually get my hair and makeup done because we're on camera and it's a live event. So a little disappointed that I don't get to get dolled up for today, although still have the backup camera. We'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't hold your breath. Everybody who's listening on the podcast, perhaps this is just absolutely normal. This
is how you experience
This is how you experience it. But you're missing the live show. But there is no live show today, so technically I guess you're not missing it.
I was just saying today, there's a little bit of buzz building around the live shows, and looking at the chat room and the numbers.
Right.
It's kind of it's becoming a thing, and I'm really enjoying being a part of it. And of course, the day that I text you that is the day that it all falls apart.
Yeah, I know. We were talking about YouTube numbers being up and all sorts of fun. We'll try to put something up on YouTube, and hopefully that works. But if not, we still have your LA Galaxy talk, and we still want to get through it. We've done a bunch of upgrades in the offseason of the studio itself. We have new lighting in here, so that's been upgraded. We just got a new soundboard, which is one of the reasons why the computer decided to go south on us.
How far behind the curtain do you want to allow the listeners to peek in?
Let's just say a driver threw everything off tonight. So we got a new soundboard, new mic flags are coming for our mics. We have some other stuff planned for the season that should be a lot of fun, and we have our live show coming up at the stadium at Dignity Health Sports Park, a big milestone for us. I'm going to say it right now. I mean, I'm not going to pretend like, oh yeah, this is cool. We do this all the time.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal for us.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So 2/22, February 22nd at 2 p.m. So 2/22 at 2. There are two games that get played that particular day. It is in between the Chicago Fire, Toronto versus the Colorado Rapids and the LA Galaxy versus the Chicago Fire. So the 12 p.m. kickoff, which you can go and watch, will be at Dignity Health Sports Park. There's a game there. And then another preseason game kicks off at 3. So between the two games, from 2 to 3, is where you will find us, and we're lining up some special guests. Hopefully we can pull off a bunch of that stuff. But we want to see you there. So get your tickets to the games. So that way you can be inside. So that way you can go and hang out with us at the live show. And we're having a lot of fun. All the co-hosts, I think, are available. So
that's impressive, too, because
the
scheduling is always difficult.
Yeah, I know you're available. So the Hammer will be there. Let's see. Kevin will be there. Larry Morgan on Twitter. And Sophie should be there as well. So we should have all of the 2020 co-hosts lined up and ready to go for that. I don't know how much we're going to get of everybody because it's actually a pretty condensed little schedule.
When you say the game, the first preseason game is going to wrap up close to 2.
Right.
And then the next game starts at 3.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
It's kind of a short window, especially with how long-winded we tend to be sometimes, especially with the excitement of being in stadium and that last preseason game. I will say this. Sometimes, if you're a season ticket holder or if you don't have season tickets, there's not really an incentive to go down to watch a preseason game. But I will tell you that this being the last preseason game before the actual season starts, it's going to be the best look that you get at how they're going to line up against Houston. So because it's going to give you an idea. Maybe those players are definitely not going to go a full 90 minutes, but you're going to see a look and to build a little bit of chemistry to get some game repetitions for those players. So if you are going to go and watch a preseason game, that is the preseason game to go watch. And I say that selfishly because I'm plugging our show. That's going to be there as well.
We're going to be there. The LA Galaxy take on, supposedly, we'll put it in quotes for right now, supposedly we'll take on the Houston Dynamo in Houston, February 29th. That's just 30 days from today. 30 days to go until the LA Galaxy kickoff against the Houston Dynamo. That is a 12:30 p.m. Pacific time kickoff. That game right now looks like it'll probably be broadcast on, from what I think is Spectrum. That's what it looks like. And that could change. Lots of things are still sort of changing, but at least on the schedule that I see right now, and it's not the TV schedule, so it's one of those where I'm always maybe it's somebody else. But.
And if it is a Spectrum game, we know those of us who have ESPN Plus, and you may rely on those games, on those Spectrum games, you are blocked out. So I know there's a lot of viewing parties during those away games. So if you don't have Spectrum, and you still want to catch that game, I highly recommend getting out to a viewing party on that day.
Yep, doing that. Just 30 days until the LA Galaxy kick off the season. And with that, the LA Galaxy released the preseason roster. This is the camp roster. So this isn't necessarily everybody who's going to be on the first team, but this is everybody who's in camp right now. And what you look for in here is really like trialists. People who you didn't expect to see on the roster, and I'll say there's no trialists there. The LA Galaxy don't have any. I don't know if they will have any, but right now they don't have any.
It seems like at this point, if you haven't had someone come into camp to trial, it's unlikely at this stage to see them come. You never know. It's happened before, but I think at this stage, to have a trialist come in, I don't know that it lines up with what the Galaxy plan is moving forward.
Yeah, so there's 28 players currently on the camp roster. I'll tell you, there's two people who are not training right now. One of them is Chicharito, and we talked about that on Monday, and the reason he's not training is they're still awaiting his visa. That should be available to come here pretty quickly in terms of next week. So it's Thursday. We're imagining early next week. By Wednesday, Chicharito should be out there and available and training with the LA Galaxy. Although, this is all a thing. It's like, is he really not training? Come on. Is he really just training off to the side? It's like this is all an employment thing, right? He can't really train with them until he has his official documents to be able to train.
Yeah.
Or be emploed in the United States.
It's one of those things that reminds me of, and of course, here I am comparing myself to professional athletes.
Yes,
once again,
of course.
Keep the streak alive.
That's right.
But back in high school, I don't know if the rules are still the same, but there were certain months where you were not allowed to train with the ball. So, if everyone shows up to the field and the ball happens to be there, hey, who knows, what goes on. Obviously, I'm a few years removed from that high school experience, as you can tell by the salt and pepper in my hair. But yeah, I don't know if the rules are still the same, but it's kind of in that same vein. Technically, you're not allowed to do it, but he's obviously still with the team, still involved in those discussions with Guillermo, still involved with hearing, what the plan is moving forward with the season. So it's unfortunate because you do want as many chemistry building opportunities and repetitions and ball touches. You want that as much as possible. But at the same token, it's not like the one that may concern me a little bit is Insua.
Yeah.
Because Insua is still not in the country. He's not on campus yet.
Not on campus yet. Yeah, not in. I was told soon, in quotation marks, soon.
And if you follow him on Instagram, he is training on his own, going through some weight training regimens, doing some cardio. So he is still training. Obviously, you're never going to replicate the on team experience, but he's doing what he can from what I could tell.
There were some number changes as well. Probably the one that everybody already knows that Joe Corona moved to 15 and Chicharito has 14. The other one that happened is Sasha Kleshtin got number 16.
And who did he take that from?
He took that from Jorgen Shelvik, who now has number 30.
And any reason why Jorgen Shelvik wouldn't want to hold on to that number?
If there's a God, it's because nobody wants to see me with my shirt off the very first podcast of the regular season.
I was thinking about we really doomed ourselves on that day because opening day against Houston, Jorgen Shelvik and Tom Smart are going to be on the field, and we're just going to. We're going to be a mess because we definitely were not singing their praises about a month ago.
Hey, you know who's not on the preseason roster?
Tom
Smart.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Absolutely shocking turn of events.
That seems like an LA Galaxy 2 guy. I mean, it really does.
But okay, we're not gonna rip that Band-Aid off.
Okay, good. But anyway, so those were the only real number changes I think that I saw was just the Shelvik one. Again,
but there was players who are new to the team. So Insua will wear number 3.
Correct.
Katai will wear number 7. Danny Acosta will wear number 24.
There you go. So you got all your numbers. Those seem to be, and I'll tell you right now, this roster was delayed coming out, and the LA Galaxy delayed the roster coming out because they were trying to figure out the numbers. And so I think they really wanted to have it set so that way people could start getting sort of excited for what numbers those players will be wearing. I don't expect these to change.
Yeah.
This seems like they're pretty set. So right now there are 22 quote-unquote MLS players on this roster. We've told you about that many times. That's the roster that sort of sits there right now. But there are also 28 total players. So there's 6 other players. We have 4 players from LA Galaxy 2 and 2 players from the LA Galaxy Academy. And one of them, that Cameron Dunbar, who is listed on this preseason roster, who is a forward, was the player who was expected to get a homegrown player signing.
Yes, that was one of the rumors is that I think even Dennis DeClosa mentioned we have some homegrown signings still yet to do. A lot of the rumors going around was that it was Cameron Dunbar. So when you look at the roster, only 2 forwards listed. He's a forward. So again, you go from Chicharito to Ethan Zubak and Cameron Dunbar.
Yes.
So you feel like there's still a need for a backup striker, another forward. Obviously, you can mix and match the pieces. But that seems to be the direction that they're going.
Kai Koreniuk. I can never say his last name.
I was going to say, Kai Koreniuk and Nick Dupuy, if you watched Leagues Cup games, they held their own. I don't know that they, to me, it looks like, that's interesting depth. Obviously they're going to be LA Galaxy 2 guys. But, when you look at in our history, people like Dave Romney and Daniel Stairs, they may be in that same vein.
Well, it's more like, Nick Dupuy with the defender tag on that. So, a young defender who comes in, Carlos Harvey, a midfielder, Mohamed Kamara, another forward from LA Galaxy 2. So there are some guys in here that seem to be getting some runouts and could possibly be making this roster. I mean, so let's just say everybody on this roster was signed. The LA Galaxy would still be 2 players short of actually having a full roster.
Technically, they have a squad.
But this is a squad.
Yeah, if they needed to roll one out, they did.
And they very well could. That's one of the things. We're going to talk about, what's missing. But I also want to tell, there's been a lot of panic, I think, across Galaxy Nation here about the MLS transfer window and when it's going to close. And maybe I need to calm everybody down. The MLS transfer window, the primary transfer window, is from Wednesday, February 12th. That's right. It hasn't opened yet. You're allowed to bring people in the offseason, but technically they can't be added to the roster until...
All the paperwork essentially gets filed on the 12th.
And it gets filed on the 12th and everything
Abraham Lincoln's birthday. Fun fact.
That is a fun fact. Good pull.
Well, it's my brother's birthday. That's why I know.
Oh, okay. That's fun. That's good. Nobody knows who your brother is. Lots of people know who Abraham Lincoln is. Yeah.
And my son's named after him.
There you go. That's why Lincoln was named Lincoln? Wow. That blew my mind. I
didn't would have never guessed.
I never would have guessed. I thought it was named after the car.
Also an option.
Okay, I was going to say. So the primary transfer window, February 12th to May 5th. There are 96 days.
96 days until the transfer window closes.
96 days until the transfer window closes. Obviously, that puts the LA Galaxy into the season, and I think Dennis DeClosa has been trying to get everybody in camp and getting everybody ready as soon as they can.
I understand the sentiment where you're coming from. I just don't want you thumping your chest too much because ideally, in a perfect world, you want these players, if they're going to have an impact on your season, you want them signed and in camp before the season starts.
Right.
And hypothetically, you want them there before your preseason game starts. So you want to see a little bit of urgency, but I understand the sentiment. Don't panic. If they don't sign players by then, it's okay. There's still time to bring people in, especially with European seasons closing out around May. If you need a midseason replacement, could be someone who joins the team a little bit later, and that'd be fine.
Yeah, it's one of those sort of things. I think everybody just needs to breathe a little bit and see where these all come in. I have a feeling. I mean, here's the other thing is that I'm sort of talking about these deadlines as if they're a thing, and there's a lot of uncertainty right now, and I think you're seeing that across MLS that these final signings aren't happening because people don't know what the CBA is going to be. And we have some CBA news today, but just keep that in mind that without an active CBA, now there is, by the way, the collective bargaining agreement
It's technically active. It's just under the old terms.
Yeah, well, I think it wasn't. Didn't it run to the 31st?
31st.
And so technically, they came out with a statement today to renew it, basically 7 days.
Yes, extension.
Yeah, so they're giving themselves both MLSPA, the Players Association, and Major League Soccer decided to extend that mutually because they're saying things are going well. We feel like we're working towards the thing. Listen, it wouldn't matter if things were going well or not. They're going to come out and say that things are going well.
You want me to read the joint statement verbatim?
Go for it.
Just for fun's sake here. Major League Soccer and the Major League Soccer Players Association today announced that they have agreed to extend the current collective bargaining agreement through February 7th, 2020. The two groups have engaged in productive discussions and will continue to negotiate a new CBA. So, again, productive discussions is your key word to pull out from that. So take it as a positive. We mentioned today the LA Galaxy posted, only a few 30 days until that first away trip, and so they seem to be confident that it's going to start on time. Bringing Chicharito in, other big signings around the league. I don't think these signings get made without at least a little bit of optimism that there's a strong possibility. There's still a possibility of a lockout, but I think if you were to do like a percentage point, it's probably more 70-30. Am I out of bounds for saying it's shaded that way?
I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't think the owners want a work stoppage this year. So them just trying to lock the players out and just shutting it down pretty quickly probably doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I do think the players could strike. I don't think the players are in any hurry. And if you look at what's going on, and again, we'll get back to the preseason roster and what's missing, but the CBA really is determining what's happening and how things are going to get added to the roster and sort of where the LA Galaxy go with this. But as you're looking at this, we know that the Champions League starts on February 18th.
February 18th is when that kicks off. That's the overhang, especially for MLS clubs who wear that with a badge of honor, and that's a competition that historically the league hasn't been successful in. So to not be able to field players or I don't know exactly how that would work. I feel like I don't know.
They would forfeit those games.
They're just not allowed to.
They're not allowed to play. No,
yeah, I mean that'd be a shame. That would be a
big
huge
deal.
thing.
Yeah, and so I think this extension works. But this is what I said on Twitter. I said, yikes. Okay, and the reason is that this extension is for a week and a week only, which is it's good.
I was going to say you can read that in the positive as well.
Here's my take on this, and I can be positive all I want. I'm just telling you that in these negotiations, Eric, we do not get a deal until the most pressure is applied, until you're down to the final hours and final days of what it's going. And so I think this year it's pushed way up because of the CCL. I think that there are people using that as the deadline. So I think that February 18th feels a lot more like a deadline than really the February 29th does, which is good because that could mean that things are done and flushed out.
Well, and the other thing is you said you can officially start signing contracts and signing players to the roster on the 12th. So the fact that they didn't say the 12th, they said the 7th, that kind of tells you, in about a week we should be able to handle this. If they said the 12th or by the 18th, let's extend it until then, that lets you know they still have a lot of work still to do. So the fact that it's 7 days gives me a little bit of hope that maybe they're close.
It's a tough one. This is going to be a tough, down to the wire negotiation. If you're keeping track of the secondary transfer window, I'll let you know where that is right now. Tuesday, July 7th to Wednesday, August 5th. By the way, these line up almost exactly with what they were last year. There's no real changes. So don't think that the May 5th closing of the primary transfer window for Major League Soccer is any different. I think it was May 7th last time.
Is that off the top of your head?
No, it's on the thing.
Oh, I was going to say you should have said yes.
Yeah,
we're not on camera. No one can see where you're looking.
No. Trust me. Nobody would believe that I had that memorized. No, so it was May 7th. So it's just it's right in line. And this year the season starts a couple days earlier too.
Yes.
So it makes 100% sense that that's sort of where we're at. The other roster deadlines that you need to know: roster compliance date. This is the one where your roster has to be in compliance with MLS rules. So remember last year the LA Galaxy had 4 designated players right up until they decided to release this.
We became very familiar with this rule because of a particular Dos Santos brother on the roster last season.
So the roster compliance date this year is, as it was last year, the day before the season starts, which is Friday, February 28th. That will be the roster compliance move. The roster freeze deadline, which is what happens when at the end of the season, towards the end of the season, is Tuesday, September 1st. So those are your dates. Wanted to make sure everybody got those dates. That way you know what's coming and sort of what's happening.
That's also fascinating to me with the timing of when the MLS Cup playoffs and when MLS Cup happens. September 1st is pretty late to still bring someone on to make an impact on your squad.
Christian Wilhelmsen.
Yeah.
Christian Wilhelmsen.
The world famous.
The world famous Christian
Wilhelmsen.
Comes in way late.
Champion.
Way late. Chippen comes in way late. MLS Cup champion, played for 8 games in the regular season or something like that. Maybe not even that. Maybe it was 5 or 6.
This is the perfect place to hit you with a yeah, but still.
Yeah, but still, there you go. The LA Galaxy's preseason roster: David Bingham, goalkeeper; Perry Kitchen, midfielder; Emiliano Insua is the defender, not in camp yet; Daniel Steres, defender; Katai, midfielder; Jonathan Dos Santos, midfielder, and the captain this year. By the way, I'm making that assumption.
Is that official?
No, it's not official. But I'm making that assumption.
He was vice captain last season.
He's the captain.
The only wild card would be Chicharito, but
no, he's the captain.
Someone brand new.
Nope.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah,
we're not in the Beckham years.
This isn't David Beckham. Come on.
We learned our lesson,
which was stupid, by the way.
Yeah, we learned our lesson.
Shouldn't have done it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, no. So you have that. So Jonathan Dos Santos will, 99% be the captain this year, and Chicharito could be a vice captain this year. That's fine.
It makes sense. You look at his personality and how he's able to rally people around him. I don't think that's a bad choice for a vice captain if Jonathan's not available.
You know who else could be a vice captain this year?
Daniel Steres. See, I beat you to it.
You know who else could be a vice captain this year? Sebastian Lletget.
Joe Corona.
That's sort of what you have there. So we had, we got distracted.
Where we left off
of
at,
Jonathan Dos Santos.
Yes.
Christian Pavon, the midfielder. Eric Lopez, goalkeeper. Javier Hernandez. Who's that? Chicharito. Oh, yeah, that guy. Forward, Joe Corona, midfielder. Sasha Kleshin, midfielder. Sebastian Lletget, midfielder. D.E.D. Traore, defender. Giancarlo Gonzalez, defender. Julian Araujo, defender. Danny Acosta, defender. Rolf Felcher, defender. Efrain Alvarez. By the way, there's a lot of defenders all of a sudden.
I have the breakdown. I
counted. Efrain Alvarez, midfielder. Emil Cuello, midfielder. Ethan Zubak, forward. Jorgen Shelvik, defender. Justin Vom Stieg, goalkeeper. You have Kai Korniak, midfielder. Nick Dupuy, defender. Carlos Harvey, midfielder. Mohamed Kamara, forward. Jonathan Perez, midfielder. And Cameron Dunbar, forward.
This felt like a high school commencement.
It did.
Graduating high honors. Nick Dupuy, defender.
Say, what did they always say? Hold your applause until the very end, and then the first name gets called and everybody screams.
The roster breakdown outside of LA Galaxy 2 players and LA Galaxy Academy players: 3 goalkeepers, 8 defenders, 9 midfielders, 2 forwards.
Okay.
So when you break it down the way, 8 defenders, 9 midfielders doesn't sound. That sounds like what you're going to need.
It's crazy that you sit there and say that the Galaxy probably need to add a defender.
It's the type of defender that they need. Center backs. I think they don't have a lot of center backs. Midfielders, they don't have the outside wings when you talk about midfielders. So they have a lot of midfielders, but a lot of same position midfielders. And then the same thing with defenders. You have opposite ends of the defense, but you don't necessarily have a strong core in the center. And then forwards obviously is still a glaring spot where they need players. If you're officially going to call forward.
I see 3. Here's the problem: is that D.D. Traore and Jorgen Shelvik, for what we're imagining in the international slots and just sort of how this team has been built, probably aren't going to be with this team. So you take 2 of the defenders away.
Yeah, you're now at 6.
Yeah, so you're at 6, which is good. You probably need to add 1, which is essential defender.
At some point, we could knock on wood all we want. At some point, fatigue, injuries, squad rotation, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be a factor. You need other players in those positions.
Yeah, that makes some sense. I think 1 borderline starter defender you bring in. I think you need 1. Well, here's the thing, and so the midfield is an interesting one. So let's leave that one for last. Forward, you need a borderline starter who's able to back up Javier Hernandez.
Okay, I was going to say something, but then
you don't like it, or you don't like how I said it.
GBS hasn't shown that he changes anything. If you got another borderline starting forward,
4-2-2,
he could change some formation in certain scenarios. GBS hasn't shown that he does that, so I'm not going to say it just because he seems to be a guy who doesn't change his tactics, keeps his tactics, and he plays to win with his style. So
whenever you go to midfield and you look at the depth, we talked about the wingers not being there, and one of the backups to the outside wings for Pavon and for Katai is Sebastian Lletget. Mm-hmm. He can play on either side. He can go out to the wing, which means that if one of those guys is hurt, or let's say you wanted to move Pavon up as a forward to be up with Javier Hernandez, you could move it, and then you could bring in Sasha Kleshin into the middle.
And there's also a wrinkle that was used last season is Julian Araujo playing in midfield.
Yep.
So instead of playing him at left back, you play him at left mid on the wing. Essentially, the wing backs go up and do the same thing. So he'd be doing the same thing he does as a defender, just doing it as a midfielder. So just different positioning, but asking him to do the same thing.
Right. So, I mean, whenever we look at it and we say that the Galaxy are short on depth on the wings, it's true in terms of just straight up wingers. I mean, if you had a guy like Chris Pontius again who's coming back, that would have been, oh, okay, well, you got a good winger backup, you know.
He's got to be representing someone on the team, right?
Can you get him back? Maybe they could call him back. But I mean, that's the type of player that you're looking for. Is somebody. I mean, even Sasha Kleshin at his age, he knows he's probably a bench player. He's going to fight to try to start and play as many minutes as he can. But he's probably a bench player. But that gives GBS the option of putting him in later in games and moving somebody from the middle out wide and moving somebody from the out wide up top, and then you can sort of shuffle things around.
And you do hear when you have interactions and talks about Kleshin that he's past his prime date. You know what I mean? But at the same time, when you have that much experience, you know the league, you know the game, you've played at a high level. He's played in Europe, played in Champions League. This is not a
Juninho signing as like last year.
This is someone who's going to be. He's going to fit the role. He's going to know what to do. He's a professional soccer player.
The odd man out here is really Perry Kitchen in that terms, because you're going to put.
But I think he looked great in moments last year. Obviously it was unfortunate with the injuries, but I think he did his job when he was called upon.
I see 3 players missing, and I think you kind of go in this order. Is that, like we said, a borderline second striker, right? So a borderline starter.
Someone to spot fill Chicharito for whatever reason, whenever he's gone.
And the ultimate, and the other, cups and all that other stuff. You need some guys you're gonna play the young guys, but you need another guy who's gonna be up there. So that's one. You probably need another midfielder. And by the way, that could be at almost any position.
Yeah.
It just because you could shuffle things around. So another midfielder. I prefer a winger. Maybe with somebody with some speed would be nice. Is Ima Boateng doing it? No.
I was just gonna say. Was his contract renewed at DC? Because it almost seemed like if he came at a reduced price, that everyone would be happy with that. I think Ema'd be happy, fans would be happy.
I don't remember.
We'd have to look at the ins and outs.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up. I kind of went over some of the free agents that were available and that type of thing. I don't think Ima qualified.
I know he wasn't
agency.
qualified for free agency. I'm just curious if his option was picked up.
Yeah, I think it was declined, to be honest with you. I don't know that for sure.
But where does that leave him?
Yeah, it leaves him under DC umbrella.
So DC has the rights to do what they want with him.
Yeah, and I don't know for sure that, because I don't remember him being out there shopped around or even his name being mentioned. And I imagine somebody would want to take him and be like, that makes some sense. So maybe they picked up his option.
With the amount of teams in the league, and looking at DC's roster as well and what they lost, there's a spot for him on that team. It probably just came down to negotiations, which we're familiar with.
Yeah, I know that happens all the time. So I mean, and then we're still looking at the center back and sort of where that's at. Now, there was a rumor about center back, so let's just go to the rumors. There's not many. In fact, there's only one that we can really talk about, but there's some other stuff that I can sort of hint at and let you go. Jordy DeWee. That's how I'm saying it.
I was going to say, well
Jordy
done.
DeWeis?
Your Dutch is great.
Or is it DeWee?
It's DeWee.
DeWee? Really? Yeah. There's a W, an I, a J, and an S in there.
It's not DeWidgis. Come on.
This is true. DeWee.
You got to ask DTK on this. Get him on the line.
JDW, Jordy DeWee, is a center back currently playing for Hull City in the championship. Also played some soccer there at PSV Eindhoven, but never really broke through. That's in the Eredivisie. This is a Dutch player. He's 25 years old. He really checks all the boxes. Everything, like whenever you sit there and go, okay, 25 years old, getting starting minutes in the championship. He may be injured right now, which is a thing that the people are sort of saying, but he's played a whole bunch of games this year, so that's not necessarily a huge red flag or a marker. This is a guy who could come in and be that borderline starter who would push Gonzalez and people.
And you hear this a lot. The closest comparison to Major League Soccer might be the championship. I think if you compared club to club, there's individual. When you talk about individual talent and DPs, maybe it's I'm going to go be bold and say it's a step above the championship.
Ooh, wow, yes. Yes.
But if someone is able to play at that level, you look at the players that the Galaxy have brought in and the countries that they came from and the leagues that they came from. Hull City, championship, age.
Yep.
It seems, like you said, it seems to check all the boxes. I love our rumor mill. It's Argentina,
yes.
GBS connection.
Yes. Yeah.
Mexico, DTK.
Yep.
Dutch, DTK.
Yep.
Those are going to be your three.
I love it.
Your three areas.
Well,
we just need to go somewhere wild, like Paraguay.
Yeah, and everybody's like, wait,
what just happened?
Iceland, it's one of those. No, there was
Iceland would be a good one.
That would be.
Let's go shopping in Iceland.
That sounds like fun. Might be cold.
It's green in Iceland?
And icy and green.
Greenland?
Yeah.
You know where I learned that?
Yeah. Where?
You know where I learned that.
No, where'd you learn that?
The Mighty Ducks.
The Mighty Ducks.
D2, the Mighty Ducks.
Did you hear they're coming back with
Yeah,
by the
for a
Disney
series.
Plus? Yeah, they're going to do a series.
gonna be a
Gordon
good
Bombay, Emilio Estevez.
He's back.
He's back, baby. So anyway, yeah.
Tangent.
There we go. That was fun. But anyway, so this is a rumor. We have this linked as 2 stars right now on the rumor tracker. This is, whenever Carlos Zambrano definitely fell through. Kevin told you that the LA Galaxy were no longer hunting Carlos Zambrano. I think he might be going to Boca. That seemed like
That was the latest rumor.
That was I know. But apparently that was just too difficult of these things fall apart. That's how it works. And this is just the LA Galaxy not chasing anymore. I think that they said they've had enough and they're done.
But it also might be a factor of timing.
Yeah.
When talks were probably heating up with Zambrano is when Chicharito became available on the radar. So obviously you're going to point all your attention to Chicharito, and then that allows another club like Boca or from somewhere else to come in and engage Zambrano in talks. And then I'm not going to say steal him away, because if they were close to a deal and to a price that he liked, he would have probably hung around. But if he was looking for a better deal and the Galaxy's attention wasn't focused on him, as a player,
right.
These guys aren't pursuing me. I'm not the apple of their eye. Then maybe I'll look somewhere else.
So now that we've talked up Jordy DeWee, and we've talked about how good he would be at joining the LA Galaxy and how this would probably be a good value buy. It seems like the deal could possibly get done. I'm going to tell you, it's not going to get done.
Yeah, it doesn't follow him on Instagram.
Yeah,
that's the killer right there.
That's out. That's how
Kiss
you know.
of death.
If Dennis DeClosa doesn't follow him on Instagram, you're out. This is going to be too difficult a deal to get to have made. Just the in terms of the English Premier League and their transfer window closing, you're taking a starter away from Hull, who would have had to probably replace him quickly.
And the density of the championship schedule is a lot denser than the Premier League. So it's a harder spot for them to fill on their end. If they're going to get rid of a starter, they need to backfill that.
Andy's a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Like, there was a whole bunch of things that sort of led this up. Now, here's what we can tell you, so you can cross this Dutchman off the list.
After the 10 minutes
Yeah.
we spoke, I do have an update.
Yes.
Ima Boateng under contract with DC United for 2020.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. We don't have the chat room tonight to be able to correct
I had
us.
to be my own
right?
chat room
I
right
was
now.
like, oh, so much work we have to do. So now that we've told you that, you can cross off Jordy DeWee off that list. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen. I think miracles would have had to pull through for that really to happen, and I don't see any miracles being pulled through. So as of right now, you can pretty much count that one as dead. That being said, the LA Galaxy are searching for another defender. We do know that they're targeting somebody.
What country would you guess that they're from?
There's 2:
Argentina,
Mexico,
or the Netherlands.
Yeah, I was going to say. So there's 3, or the Netherlands. So just keep your eyes peeled. This one seems like the LA Galaxy have had backup. We told you there were backup plans for Carlos Zambrano. There are backup plans for Jordy DeWee as well.
So there's a backup plan to the backup plan.
It's these things, you have to sort of attack them all at once, and then you have to see what returns, because you don't know what's going to fall in your favor and what's not.
Yeah, what if you make 2 or 3 offers or initiate 2 or 3 conversations and you're auditioning people for the same spot?
Well, I mean, look at you talked about Nico Castillo, right? This was a guy who the LA Galaxy were supposedly targeting before they went after Javier Hernandez. He was going to be expensive, playing at America, not playing that much, and perhaps they were calling him a bust, and it really wasn't that much of a bust. But in America, if you're not scoring like a zillion goals, you're a bust. And so they were talking about it. He got hurt.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. You never like to see anyone get hurt, and what was the slogan for Chicharito? Imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine if you sign Nico Castillo and then he gets hurt prior to coming over. So dodged a bullet. But again, it's one of those butterfly effect. Who knows if they would have signed him training and things would have been different with Castillo. So, but at this point, you look at it as a bullet dodged.
So again, Galaxy are targeting somebody. We're waiting to find out what that name is. Again, those 3 countries are good guesses. All right.
See, I'm pretty good at this game.
And
I'm figuring it out.
We're working on it. We're working. As soon as some of this stuff, listen, even us, whenever we're trying to figure this stuff out, sometimes we just get little pieces of information that give us just enough, so we know stuff is happening, but we don't know details. We don't know names. And so then, I don't know about Eric, but you go on DTK's Instagram and okay, who else does he follow?
You know what? When on your own Instagram page, you could see who's your followers by the earliest and by the latest. They need that for other people's pages, so we can see who he did most recently. Yeah.
That's what it is.
So Instagram developers, if you're listening, we'd like that feature,
especially for public figures. We really need to know like how recently Dennis DeClose.
Well, you know what? Just turn it on for me and Dennis DeClose. So that's really all we need.
So, you look at this offseason, Eric, and you have guys like Zlatan Ibrahimovic departing, which wasn't a huge surprise, and it's a blow to a certain point, but it's also a 38-year-old who's going to be 39 playing. And listen, he's playing fine at AC Milan and that retirement league over in Italy.
He's scoring game winners.
He's doing just exactly what you thought he would do, and nobody really doubted that he would. So there's a move on there. So the LA Galaxy, lose Zlatan Ibrahimovic, lose Roman Alessandrini. You're talking about a lot of goal scoring that exits this team. So Dave Romney moves out. There's a lot of stuff that has moved out in this particular one. Even Diego Polenta moving out. So there's been a lot of outward movement. There's been some inward movement. You get Chicharito, Javier Hernandez. Not necessarily a like-for-like replacement for Zlatan Ibrahimovic, but maybe that's okay.
But it's also apples and oranges an extent.
It is. I mean, that's what we've been saying the whole time is that, yes, Zlatan carried the LA Galaxy, but...
And this is actually a perfect case study because if you're of the mind that you believed Zlatan, as great as he wasn't great for the team, you're going to see a team player is a team player who may be able to contribute to more goals and spread it around. Is that going to benefit the Galaxy overall as opposed to someone with the individual, world talent who's going to make amazing things happen, but maybe isn't going to involve their teammates as much. So if you believe that was a thing, this is your case study. You're going to see if it works, if you were right.
That's right. Everybody, I think the pundits have sort of weighed in and said this should be a better Galaxy team in terms of teamwork.
Yes.
But whether that relates to wins and goals and all that fun stuff, certainly...
You need to replace the goals and not let as many in. Yeah, again, if you're listening, that's really good advice. Score more goals. Don't let as many in.
Who was it?
Just a great thought there.
Who was it? Somebody? I forget. It was some analyst talking about the NFL. It's like you can't afford to lose games in the NFL.
Booger McFarland.
Yes,
yeah,
you can't afford to lose games. You need to win games in the NFL if you're going to be successful.
I've also got this nugget to drop on you.
Yes.
Don't listen to anyone named Booger.
Yeah.
Just bad life advice. Nothing good's going to happen.
Anyway, so again, but we go back to all these additions and subtractions. I mean, how do you grade this offseason then? And certainly the correct answer is incomplete because they haven't made all the moves and you're waiting for them to do it.
You can grade what's happened thus far.
Okay, so where...
You want to go case by case?
No, I just give me a grade. I don't have time to be here all day.
I think if you're grading an A through F scale, I think you give the Galaxy a B. They haven't hit it out of the park.
Right.
But it's not a failure. And... there are people who might say you bring Chicharito in and you don't give that an A,
right?
Especially with the off the field.
They're going to be really ticked off whenever I go if they're worried about that.
But I think a B is fair because there's improvements. Look at someone like Katai coming in, who all signs show point to him being an impactful player on this roster. Having Zlatan leave, is that a net positive? I think it's neutral. It's neither here nor there because, like you said, he's 38, maybe didn't want to come back. And
right.
Do you want that type of player here? Someone who doesn't want to be here. So I think that's more neutral. Losing Dave Romney, when you look at what they're trying to do with the defense now, maybe downgrade that a little bit. But it's also it's Dave Romney. It's not it's not a top-level league talent, so you can't downgrade it too much.
By the way, did you see what happened in Nashville today?
Did something happen today?
Yes, the Nashville happened today.
Oh no!
They were supposed to build a stadium there. They had like all the green lights and all that stuff, and the mayor refuses to go forward with it all of a sudden.
Wow!
And so Don Garber actually came out in the media today and said we would not have awarded Nashville a franchise,
that was the whole promise,
an expansion team. And
wow!
Whenever you said we were going to build the stadium, we took your word at it. And now you're saying you're not. It's like, ooh.
Yeah. They're going to be playing at Nissan Stadium. Yeah, football stadium. That's no good.
Well, as somebody said, I think it was Sam Stejskal was commenting. He says, Nashville was struggling to sell season tickets. They don't have a stadium. They've got a slow build on their roster. I mean, one of their marquee signings so far feels like Dave Romney, he
wasn't
big fan
involved
of Dave
in the
Romney.
Jersey rollout. I was disappointed.
Big fan of D. Romney.
Handsome Dave, that's a face you put on.
That is.
You put that face on the jersey reveal. Disappointing from you, Nashville.
But yeah, so all that's going sideways. I thought that was interesting. But yeah, you look at that. And listen, I think that if you look, do you say Zlatan's a negative or positive? I don't know. I
think it's a wash.
Chicharito can be an A.
That's
why
that
can be an A. That's
on
fine.
its own.
On its own. Insua is a positive, but does anybody think the Galaxy have fixed the defense? No. Was that one of their biggest things to really worry about?
And you look at recent years, who's a left back that the Galaxy have become accustomed to? Someone like Ashley Cole.
Yeah.
Is Insua going to be an Ashley Cole?
He could be, actually.
You think it's going to be there? It's one of those potential it could be, but at the same token, until you see the product on the field, you hope that it's positive, and it's an upgrade over Jorgen Skjelvik.
Yes.
But it's not quite Ashley Cole. That's where I would rank it.
But it could be.
Could be positive.
It could be an Ashley Cole. Like, this guy has the pedigree to be as good as
and
Ashley
the, and
Cole
the age,
was.
And the age works in his favor.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. He could be
here for a while.
He could be a lockdown.
Yeah.
It could be the start of something beautiful. Never know.
Isn't that a song?
It probably is. I'm sure somebody came up with that. If not,
chat room
copyright. Yeah, no
you
chat
can't
room.
get on that.
But no, so, I think Insua is a positive, but again, Pipo Gonzalez was not the starter last year, and now he's a starter.
Well, and that's why I'm hesitant with Insua, because you look at someone like Pipo Gonzalez, where he played, his pedigree, the level of play that he played at.
You make that deal. It's
you
one
say
of those,
this guy's coming in. He's gonna really strengthen this back line. He's the missing piece. I remember last year, one of his first trainings, Diego Polenta and Pipo Gonzalez. We have our center backs for the next 3 years.
Yep.
And
nope,
it doesn't seem like that's the case this season. So that's why I'm hesitant on a player that I haven't watched on a day-to-day basis, who we're putting faith on where they're coming from and the leagues they played in. We're giving that a lot of credence, as opposed to you have to see it.
You do have to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, all of this is just,
blowhardry. Until February 29th, this is all speculative.
You get to start to see things in preseason, but even preseason is not the season. It's like, you can have a horrible preseason, do just fine in the regular season.
Well, remember, Ola Kamara and Zlatan were banging in goals those first preseason games last season, and then that wasn't happening by the beginning of the season.
Yeah. No, I mean, all that stuff can change, and so again, it's something to watch. If I'm giving the LA Galaxy a grade right now, it's a C. I like the positive with Chicharito. I think that's good. I like the Insua. I like Katai. I think those are all good moves. But you didn't plug the biggest hole for me, which is you're going to start a defense right now that basically is the same defense that started last year.
If Zlatan Ibrahimovic leaves,
yes,
is forward not your biggest hole?
It can be, certainly.
So they filled that. I think you have to give that a little more positivity. Yes, the defense is why this is not an A.
So if you didn't fill the striker role and you didn't fill the defensive role, it would have been an F.
It's a D. Yeah,
it's an F.
Yeah, D minus.
Okay, it's an F. You failed completely.
I'm
right?
a homer. I'm not going to give them an F.
So if we're going to split the difference there, it's a C, not a B.
Okay, fair enough.
You just missed a positive over there.
It's B minus C plus. Can we agree on that? Let's meet in the middle. Here,
no.
I'm going to meet you at office hours for some extra credit.
That's right.
We're going to bump this C plus to a B minus.
B minus. That's what we're going to do.
I need these GPA points.
Anyway, I think that the Galaxy still have the time to do it. I think that they can still get all this stuff, and I think by the time this roster rolls out on February 29th, it could be an A.
That's the important thing to note. As of now, it's a C. Could it be bumped up to a B plus A? Absolutely. If it's a B now, I don't think the grade is going to go down from this point. I don't think pieces that they're going to bring in are going to bring it from a C to a D or bring it from a B to a C. Whatever grade you have it now, you have to go on the assumption that they're going to bring in pieces that make this roster better.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think it gets worse. I mean, how do you do if you don't?
And if C is your starting point now and it's not going to get worse, then that's okay.
If they sign everybody who's on this preseason roster,
maybe
does it go down?
Maybe that goes down. Okay.
It goes down. Okay.
Well, Tom Smart's not here. So.
Smart move.
So, hey, there you go.
So that's where I don't know. I think that we're going to see more of this. Again, the rumors are starting to heat up a little bit from what I'm hearing. Like there's a little murmur starting now, and so I expect that
it was concerning on how quiet it was after Chicharito.
It was.
It was like, okay, now Chicharito's done. What next? And it's silence. So, to be expected, it's going to start to heat up, hopefully, now.
Behind the scenes wise, like I'll tell you in terms of how we can gauge these things and how we get, I mean, with Chicharito, anybody's talking about that, right? So it's easy to get information, like everybody's like, oh yeah, man, this is happening.
True.
Like you can do it. And so.
And he vlogged about it.
Yeah, that too.
He pretty much put himself out there.
He did. But it's easy to sort of talk about it. And there's always people. And so when it's that big, you always get information. When you get guys who you just don't know, I mean, I guarantee you, if they get a defensive defender, it's probably somebody you've never heard of before, and
your backup striker, again, listen to the words you're saying. A backup striker.
Yeah.
Think about who you're going to bring in and the level that player is going to come from. Not a bad thing, and it's not to say that they can't come and be successful, but it's not going to be someone that knocks your socks off when you hear the name.
Does the grade go up automatically if Jorgen Skjelvik gets moved off the roster?
I'm going to be bold and say no.
Okay, it stays the same.
You're better off having Jorgen than
having nothing.
Than getting rid of him, and now you're one less defender. And if you have that situation where player goes down, player gets hurt.
So if you get rid of him and you don't replace him, the grade would go down. But if you get rid of him and you replace him with somebody who, by all accounts, should be better,
yes,
because he wasn't very good, so you would have to say that maybe even you would be an upgrade over Jorgen Skjelvik sometimes.
That's not true.
That is
I
not
would
true.
never say that.
That was rude. That was rude. Jorgen,
he has a
Jorgen
goal.
Does okay. He does
I don't.
okay. He's not great for $1 million.
Unpopular opinion. That's where
it's
wrong. That's where it's wrong. If Jorgen Skjelvik was on this roster for $135K, I don't think people would be as upset with him.
Let's see. The LA Galaxy and their weekly schedule were all the way through Thursday. Another off-site training for the LA Galaxy today. I don't know where that was. I didn't see.
At the beach. It was at the beach again. Yeah, Rolf was posting. Joe Corona was posting.
Just follow at Galaxy Profile.
Follow at Galaxy Profile. I don't know what's wrong with you. Cristiano Ronaldo was the first person to reach 200 million Instagram followers. I'm at 900. I'm right there.
You're right there.
You're
in the hunt.
We need your votes. Join us in. Again, you know this. Josh didn't know they were at the beach.
Yeah.
If you followed me, you would have known that.
I was busy today trying to get a computer to work.
I was like, you didn't have anything else going on, right?
Yeah, no, it was not. So, again, another beach training day. It seems like today was only a one-a-day. In fact, I know today was only a one-a-day because I was actually trying to get some players, and the players were like, no way. We have today off.
This is our turn.
Our afternoon off? No, thank you. And I understand that's fine. So off-site training today, and then they're training on Friday. It looks like there's media availability on Friday. There's a good chance that Chicharito actually speaks at this media availability. I think Larry Morgan on Twitter is going to be out there for COG as I'm on an airplane to Colorado. So he will.
Like, is Larry going to start buying gifts for Chicharito?
Yes.
I'm looking forward to this.
He is.
Larry's the best.
He's already been thinking about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the wrinkle that he's going to go
I don't know yet. He's really good at sort of figuring. Like,
Well,
Zlatan was easy. He just got him old gifts.
Well, but see, this is where Larry's on brand. Zlatan's gone. Chicharito hypothetically doesn't know the retirement comment.
Yes.
Make a joke about it.
There you go.
The cane comes back.
The cane comes back. Another cane.
I could see Larry playing with that. We'll see.
Larry could.
I trust in Larry.
Imagine the Mexican media picking that up with Larry giving Chicharito a cane. Larry would go viral.
I want to read the caption of the video when they post that.
Old white guy gives Chicharito a thing. Anyway, no. So Larry will be out there covering for training on Friday. So we should have an article up on that. They are training on Saturday. They are training on Sunday. I told you before, it doesn't seem like they are limiting people. Although I did hear rumors of people going out there to training and getting locked in the store. And not being able to go out and do it. And GBS came out and rectified that real quick and said, "Oh, you guys didn't get to meet anybody? Hold on one second. Here's Jonathan Dos Santos and Chicharito."
Yeah,
boom.
I think you'd be
GBS.
interested in seeing those guys.
Mic drop. So anyway, they do have an
there.
area out there. It looks like that fans can go out for training. Again, it's not something I can officially tell you to go do, but if you went and did it, I think that'd be fine.
And if you're persistent, you find a way. As they say in Jurassic Park, life finds a way.
Nice. Good pull.
You didn't think we were going to get there.
No,
that one.
but we did. We did. Galaxy again playing a close-source scrimmage coming up next Tuesday, February 4th, against the Vancouver Whitecaps. I imagine that we might get some sort of Twitter update, that type of thing, but I don't think that there's anything going to be streaming on that.
Yeah, we'll see some highlights.
Like some.
I think you'll see
low-level video music highlights.
Katai for the first time. Seeing him slicing and dicing someone, or hopefully if Insua's in town. No, that's too soon, right? Maybe not. Maybe him whipping in a cross
soon,
an Ashley Cole-esque cross.
Yes, soon. That's what I've been told.
Insuna.
Oh
man, that was bad.
That was.
Moving
I liked
on.
it. I liked it. It was
right.
fine. February 15th, LA Galaxy versus Toronto FC. That is your first preseason game you can go to. Again, a doubleheader. Somebody asked me if these would be streamed. I said maybe, and the reason I say maybe is because there's 4 teams that are going to be there, and so maybe they all split the costs of streaming stuff, so that way their fans can watch some preseason games. I didn't see anything that said they were going to be streamed yet.
I would put money on it not being streamed, and if it is, it's going to be one of those like single camera setups.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
And you might be better off going to those teams' websites.
Wait. You are better off going to the stadium. Just go to the stadium.
Also true. If you're a season ticket member, it's free.
Saturday, February 8th, of course, the LA Galaxy Open Training and Post-Training Barbecue. That's where Victoria Block is going to get unveiled, and we've been seeing seats go in.
And that's funny.
Standing area seats.
We're pumping up the preseason games, but it seems like the 8th is going to be a better time.
It's going to be fun.
I don't want to
outside the 22nd.
Yeah,
the 22nd is going to be.
I don't want to take away from the 15th or the 22nd, but the 8th seems the fact that they're going to have players there, open training. It's not very often that they open up training to the fans, so you can get a glimpse of what that looks like. Obviously, with Victoria Block being put in, the design on the seats look great, looks fantastic. I'm excited to see how that goes. The fan base is excited to get back to Dignity Health Sports Park, and that's going to be the first chance to do so. So I think you're going to see a lot of supporters from the supporters groups, a lot of fans in general are going to make it out to that event, and that's going to be a fun time. Of course, that's the one weekend I'm out of town. I can't go. Yeah, so it makes me upset
you're not allowed
that I can't make it, but it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun.
There's a chance that I will be able to go. So we'll see if that pans out. If I can get a hall pass from watching the youngster.
You have a very young child. I don't think you're getting out. Yeah. Can we place bets on this?
No, please, no more bets. I already got the Jorgen Shelvik bet going. This is making me nervous. I'm screaming for a work stoppage. I'm hoping there's a work stoppage.
Give you an excuse.
Sorry, no season this year. Don't have to take my shirt off. I say stupid things, and I've been going full dad bod lately. I have not been working out because I don't have the time to do it.
I'm the opposite, so I'm gonna catch up to you, Josh.
Dang it.
I'm working on trying to fill this seat a little less. I spoke highly of Larry earlier, but this is where the words of Larry
Morgan
on
Twitter. Yep,
but I fill this seat here, so I gotta fill it a little bit less.
Yeah. There were a whole bunch of questions on Reddit. I'm going to save those probably for another podcast, just because this one wasn't live, and really I'd like to do that on a live show for everybody. So we'll just put those to the side. So we appreciate those. Eric, you had some stuff you wanted to get to though before we closed everything out.
Yeah. So if the video does go up, we're recording this with auxiliary cameras. I'm wearing a Kobe Bryant shirt. Obviously, news this week, devastating to the Los Angeles area, the world of basketball, the world of soccer, the world of sport in general, with the passing of Kobe Bryant. So it's just kind of been a strange week, gloomy weather on the day he passed. And so I just want to, at this point, kind of highlight Retros Irarezas. That's, again, we were saying how we're going to pronounce this, a couple of white guys.
Yeah,
saying,
I was like, I'm not touching it.
El Salvadorian company, but I'll spell it out for you. RETROSYRAREZAS. So again, if I've worn their jerseys on the live shows quite a bit. So basically after his passing, there was a large group of fans who were kind of saying, wouldn't it be cool if the Galaxy did some type of Lakers or a Kobe tribute to Kobe and his daughter Gianna and the passengers who passed away on the helicopter crash. And so basically Retros Irarezas, because of what they do is create duplicate kits, they kind of design their own version of a Lakers Galaxy crossover. So they have the 2018-2019 kit, but with purple and gold, and instead of Herbalife, it says Mamba Life mentality. Has the number 24, and then Bryant on the back, and then they did the 2005 Galaxy style, but instead of a green sash, it's a purple sash, so it's gold and purple. It has number 8 with Bryant on the back, so just kind of a cool thing. I have seen some negative reactions on social media,
right? People
trying to make a profit off the death of Kobe Bryant. And I think this is a little bit different because there was a community of, Galaxy fans on Galaxy Twitter. Right. They got together. They said, wouldn't this be cool? They asked for it. Retros Irarezas offered and did it to make it. So I don't see this as exploiting it. It's more, people wanted something to honor him. This is a business who saw a demand and is supplying the people who want it.
And they didn't jack up the price.
Exactly.
It was their normal
prices. This is what they normally do. It's not a cash grab. So if you want to knock someone for trying to profit off the death, I understand the sentiment you're coming from, and that definitely is out there right now. But this is not that. And I just wanted to point that out. This is a way, I love watching Kobe. We watched the man play his 20 years in Los Angeles, and especially with his connections to the soccer world. You saw AC Milan did a tribute to him. He was beloved in this city and around the world. And so fans are just looking for any way that they can to honor him and his family. And that's what this is. That's how I'm viewing it. And I just want to, if you want to honor, his legacy in that way, that, definitely seek out Retro Ciudades.
Yeah, you can do it.
And order a jersey.
And if you don't want to,
and if you don't want to, that's fine too. If you feel like it's exploitive, then, you don't click it and you move on.
They did come out and say that they would donate some of the proceeds to one of the foundations.
Oh, that's nice. I know Vanessa Bryant came out yesterday with a statement and gave a website if you wanted to donate to the other families. Yeah. You think the Bryant family finances are probably not an issue for them.
No.
But there are a lot of other families who are affected and probably need some financial support. So I would definitely, I don't have it off the top of my head, but search for Vanessa Bryant and her statement and Retro Ciudades as, kind of a cool way to honor a Los Angeles legend.
Yeah, very cool. You had one more thing too, didn't you?
I had one more.
Yeah,
I'm chock full of plugs today.
I was going to say, go for it. It's okay.
I got word, that there's some listeners, a father-son duo who like to listen to the show. And so I just want to give a shout out to Ramon Valadez, and his son Diego. I heard that there's some father-son bonding over our beloved Galaxy, and I'm all for that.
All for that.
And so I just want to give a shout out to Ramon and Diego. And Diego, next time you have to run the mile in PE, just want you to tell your teacher that you're excused from that. And you can just tell them the secret password is Chicharito. So, Diego, you're excused from running the mile in PE. And a shout out to Ramon. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it.
Yeah, Diego, Ramon, thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Also, if you saw on our Instagram, our winter formal couple there.
Yes, our children, our adopted children. They made it to the dance.
Ryan and Kate made it to the dance. So, congratulations, you two. Keep us updated whenever you're old enough to wed.
It's a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of
pressure. That was
pressure.
the fun thing after we posted that is like, man, you got to lock her down for her to go through all that. So a lot of pressure. They're still very young people. They're still in high school. Let them enjoy life.
That's right.
No pressure.
Maybe they need to go away and then come back.
Don't
go to
wish
college
that on them either.
Why not? That's
Come
a good
on.
point. That's a good point. That happens.
They're going to make it. High school sweethearts.
If you love
it's a
something,
thing.
set it free. Okay,
No,
that's what I hear.
It's a thing.
They're good kids.
Yeah, good kids for sure.
And we like them.
Look like they had a good time.
So that's where we stand right now with this. Again, normally we have a live show on Thursday. This is a podcast. Hopefully it's still as entertaining as it always was. And hopefully we can actually put up something on YouTube that also will be entertaining for you as well. For sure the audio will be up on YouTube. I'll make sure that happens. But if not, then you can go. Again, check all of your podcast places. I look at the stats all the time. Apple Podcasts is still the number one place where everybody finds us. That's like a mandatory thing, and that's fine. Spotify is there, though. Stitcher, Google Play. You can ask...
SoundCloud.
You can ask any of your female digital assistants that you have.
They don't. I got one of those Google devices. Doesn't have to be female.
Doesn't have to be female. It can be male too.
Well, I chose a British woman, but still, you have options.
You and I are twins. My phone is a British female too. I don't know. It's a thing. My wife says it's okay. She forgives me. But no. So definitely check it out anywhere you can. If you want to leave us a rating, go ahead and do that because that helps us as well. Again, subscribe to our YouTube channel. All that fun stuff is there. Are you good, Eric? Are we good to go?
I feel like we're good.
I can hit the button then. We'll try.
Sure.
All right. Tell people where they can find you. Let's go.
All right, you can find me on Twitter at GISHammer. You could also find me on Instagram to get all of the scoop on your LA Galaxy players. That's the Professional Foul at Galaxy Profile. That's Galaxy PROFOUL. And if you're thinking about joining us for the LA Kings LA Galaxy crossover night, we're looking on getting that link fixed so you can join us for a good time on Thursday, February 20th. Get a free hat when you buy your ticket. Tell them the Hammer sent you. Go ahead and click the link. Call that number.
All right, sounds good. If you're looking for me on Twitter, it's at Guesman, JGUESMAN, and of course at Galaxy Podcast. Head on over to cornerofthegalaxy.com where you can find all of our wonderful merchandise, all of our fun stuff, all of our videos, all of our podcasts. We are planning some special stuff for that show on 222, including some special merchandise that you may have seen a little sneak peek of on our Instagram and all that fun stuff. So follow us on all those places to get those sneak peeks. All right, I think that about does it for Eric the Portuguese Hammer. I'm Josh Guesman, and you've been listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Have a great one, everybody.
You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast, and be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. Fans, we thank you for listening, and we ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again. Until then, I'm Michael Araujo, and on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye, everybody.